What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So today we're going to talk a little bit about COLA. So if you guys don't know how things work, we're going to talk a little bit about this. I'm going to show you a clip. They're going to be talking about it as well. Now we're trying to anticipate what COLA will look like in 2023 or for 2023. We'll find that information out in October. So basically the way that it works is July, August, and September. Those are the 3 months. That's how they calculate what COLA will look like. Okay, so they're going to take that CPI score and they have some calculation. The Social Security Administration has some type of a calculation, and that's how they figure what we're going to be seeing when it comes to COLA. Now, that's not for everyone. Now, I receive a pension. My COLA tops off at 3%. Okay, so it doesn't matter. I mean, basically, if it's over, let's say inflation is 8%, and people receiving Social Security, they will get, let's say, somewhere near that. Like, well, let's just look at last year. Last year it was 5.9%. Now, I could not get a COLA of 5.9%. I would get 3%, and then they would carry over that extra amount. They would carry that over into the next year. So I get 3% this year, 3% next year, because you're not always guaranteed to get 3%. Sometimes you'll get less than 3%. And so what they do is they carry it over. So hopefully that makes sense. And that's just in my case with the pension. Now, when it comes to Social Security, they have their little calculation. They put that together. We saw it 5.9% for this year. Next year, we're gonna find out in October what that's going to look like. And some economists are saying that they think it's going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 8% to 8.6%, which would be very high. But when you look at CPI right now, the CPI scores every month are up there. So inflation is up there. It's in the 8%, 8.6. It's around that right now. And if inflation gets even worse, then we could see a COLA even higher than that. And some economists have said 9%. Which would be really, really interesting. And so that's what we're going to focus on in this video. But first off, on this channel, we talk about money and the financial struggles that Americans are facing today. If that sounds like something interesting to you, please subscribe to the channel and hit that little bell notification. That way you get notified anytime we put out a video. And like always, if you see my name and a picture of me in the comment section, make sure you see a check mark next to my name. That check mark signifies that it's me. If you do not see that check mark, it's not me. It's someone trying to impersonate me. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get right over to the video first, and then I'm going to talk a little bit at the end when it comes to COLA and why this is a boost. Okay, this is not a raise. So there's a huge difference, and I'm going to tell you how I feel about that at the end of this video. Here we go.
Inflation has sent the cost of living to record highs and is having an impact on everyone from millionaires to retirees. So as a result, Social Security beneficiaries will receive a boost to their monthly checks. But will it be enough? That's a big question. Yahoo Finance senior columnist Carrie Hannon joins us now with that. And Carrie, how big of a boost are we expecting?
Well, I'm telling you, we're not going to really know until October. But the numbers that are being tossed around is around 8% or even 8.6% is one estimate of what is likely based on inflation. Now, they compute it all running up till October to see how the inflation is running. But here's what happened. I mean, last week, the Social Security Administration came out with their trustees report, which they estimated that they.
Now, look at this graph here, this illustration. So 2008, it was 2.8%. 2018 was 2.8%. 2019, it was 1.6%. 2020, it was 1.3%. And then in 2021, it was 5.9%. And it's anticipated to be even higher than 5.9%. I can almost, we're pretty much looking at, we know it's going to be higher than 5.9%. So you see the progression there. And there are certain years where there's no COLA at all. We don't see it increase at all. So there's no guarantee when it comes to how the numbers look, but we can see that steady progression. And like they're saying, and like I'm saying, this is a boost. Okay, this is not a raise.
Would perhaps increase the cost of living for Social Security beneficiaries by 3.8%. For next year. But it looks like even walking back, one of the high administration officials who talked about it afterwards said, you know what, we did those numbers in mid-February, and it actually looks like we may be much closer to 8%. So I'm seeing somewhere in that range.
Carrie, what does this do for the program's funding? Because you would think that would be in question here if we do see such a big hike.
That's a really good question. And the people I talked to said, actually, it really depends on how long inflation lasts for, right? So the way they're looking now is it's not long run, and they don't see it really having a heavy impact at the moment on the solvency of the fund in the future and so forth, and the financial viability of it. But what is important to note is even with an 8%, even if it was that 8%, I keep saying it wrong, sorry, 8.6% increase per month. What would happen is many people say that's not even keeping pace with inflation. There would still be a shortfall for retirees, and that benefits from, if you went back to 2020, that the cost of what you could buy with your check has dropped by 40%. So it is pretty significant. And really, the retirees are getting hit the hardest by this, or folks that haven't saved for retirement, that they depend on that check for 90% or so of their, daily living costs, for their monthly costs. This is a significant amount of money for them. And if you live in rural America and you're depending on a car, the cost of gasoline, as we all know, has just skyrocketed. And that's really taking a hard hit. And again, this year, of course, we had a bump up this year of 5.9% in the benefit to kind of address these inflationary issues. It just wasn't enough. But in that calculation, it was the Medicare jump up in the cost of Medicare B that really prompted some of that increase right there. But just simply the cost of living is really, really a hardship for many, many people.
Yeah, it certainly is. Talking about gas prices up to $4.96 a gallon, the national average. So people paying more in almost every aspect of their life at this point. All right, Carrie Hannon, thanks so much for joining us.
Okay, so and she was talking about the average gas price. It's gone up over $5 now. This was like eight days ago that this video was published. But when we're looking at a few different, I want to take a few different parts that they were talking about. The first thing is boost. Okay, yes, this is a boost. This is to offset inflation. That's all it is. Okay, so basically, and usually the numbers are a little bit less as far as COLA. It's lower than what we're looking at when it comes to inflation. So inflation could be at 6% or 7%, and then you see a COLA of like 5.9%. So it usually trails what inflation, the actual numbers on when it comes to inflation. So people are they're still behind. You still could be in a situation, we could see this where, let's say it's 8%, COLA is 8%, but inflation is at 8.6% or 9%. So you're still behind the 8 ball when it comes down to it. But this is a boost. This is just to offset. Okay, so what we're seeing a lot, and what we saw last year, and what happens every year when it comes to COLA, you get an increase in COLA, and then you have to pay a higher premium in Medicare. So that's something that needs to be fixed as well, because that's not. We shouldn't be looking at a situation where they're looking at COLA, they're giving you let's say 8% when COLA for 2023, but then you're spending that, you're paying a higher premium in Medicare, so they offset each other. So you're really not getting anything, and you're still paying the high inflation when it comes to the products that you buy. So this is interesting. It's a very, very interesting conversation. We are going to have to start watching this. Like I said, July, August, and September. Those are the months that they use to calculate COLA. Now, one thing that politicians have been talking about when it comes to inflation and the CPI score, we should be taking the CPIE, not the CPIW. They've been talking about this for a couple of years, and basically the CPIW is for wage earners, people who are working currently. The CPIE is for the elderly, and that reflects more when it comes to Social Security. It should be reflective of what the elderly are paying, because when you're older, you have different expenses. Medical expenses usually go up. And so we shouldn't be using the calculation that they use for wage earners to calculate the COLA for Social Security. So that's something that hopefully they can address. Maybe this could be a standalone bill. I don't know, because at the current time they're talking, and you have Senator Bernie Sanders has a plan that he wants to get implemented. But the Republicans have not put forward a plan yet, so they need to negotiate something when it comes to the Social Security reform. They also, in this video, they were talking about the solvency, right? That's an issue. In 12 years, we're looking at a situation where the trust fund can run out of money. The Social Security trust fund, if it runs out of money, then we're looking at a reduction of about 23%. And so what they need to do is they need to reform Social Security. Okay. Now with inflation at 40-year high when it comes to inflation, now we're looking at a situation where, let's say COLA is higher. COLA's at 8% or 8.6%. That means the trust fund is going to run out of even more money even faster. And so that's something that they need to think about as well, because you're paying a higher percentage in Social Security, which means the trust fund will be depleted faster. And so there's a lot of stuff on the table right now. But right now, the main thing is Congress needs to do something about Social Security. Okay, they need to reform Social Security, and they need to do it sooner than later. The later you wait, the harder it's going to be, the more money that it's going to cost. So that's all I have for this video, but I want to know what you guys think. So let me know down below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.